Our Bible text is James 2, the verses 15 to 16. If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, "Depart in peace, be warmed and filled," but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? So here the author, according to the early church tradition, it refers to James, or rather Jacob, the brother of Jesus. This epistle was written by him, and this epistle is full of practical wisdom and ethical admonition. So it's very similar to the wisdom literature of the Old Testament, like Proverbs. And the author here, there's no overall structure. He speaks about this topic and that topic. But here specifically, he speaks about you cannot have faith without works. And it might sound contradictory what Paul argues, because Paul says in Romans 3 and also in Galatians 2 that you cannot just be justified by the works of the law, but by faith. So it sounds like it's on the surface he's opposing what Paul says. But Paul was addressing a particular issue. He was speaking of the works of the law. In other words, circumcision, the food laws, in other words, the kosher laws, that you must do those things. And Paul says, no, you're not justified by that, but by faith. And Paul would have totally agreed with James here that faith shows works. What Paul also says in Galatians, he refers to it as faith working through love. Of course, love, it's a verb, it's a doing word, it's actually doing things, because that's the kernel or the core of Christian teaching, acts of love, acts of service to your neighbor. Those are works in a sense. And these are the kind of works that our author here, James, is referring to. And also, he has a special focus or concern for the poor. First, let's go back to chapter 1, verse 22, where our author also writes about the importance of doing something. He says there, "Be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves." So, be doers of the word. Active faith is doing things. And he also has a concern for the poor. For example, if we go to verse 27, for example, there he writes, he builds on this idea of doing something. He says, "Pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their trouble." So there's look after orphans and widows. Now in chapter 2, he begins by speaking of how Christians treat the poor. He says, don't act with partiality. Don't treat a rich person differently than you would a poor person. If a rich man comes in and he has a golden ring on his finger, he has nice clothes, and you tell him, yeah, come stand here in a special place. But then a poor person comes in with old filthy clothes and you tell him, come sit over here by my footstool. You're not that important. Then he says you're acting with partiality and you're contradicting the law of love. So he bases his teaching on the law of love. And there's probably also a connection here with Jesus there. It's the parable of the sheep and goats. You know, how do you treat people? Because how you treat people or God's people is how you treat Jesus himself also. So he says first, don't act with partiality. And now we come to our immediate textual unit. That is, saving faith reveals itself in works. And that's from chapter 2, verses 14 to 26. So now he specifically addresses also this issue of doing, faith and doing. And for the author, you cannot say you have faith and you do not do works. These are general works, works of love, Christian ethics, to do what God wants you to do. Let's go to 2 verses 14, because he asks there, what does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? The Greek is actually, you can translate it in a way, can that kind of faith save him? In other words, a faith without works. Now we come to our Bible text. If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, "Depart in peace, be warmed and filled," but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? So, for the author, faith is demonstrated by works, especially works of love. And he also still has the poor in mind here, because he's speaking here of somebody who's destitute of food and clothing. You must give practical help to them. That goes hand in hand with faith. It cannot be separated. So our author has asked, what does it profit? And then he comes to this important statement. Thus, also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And he repeats this 3 times in our textual unit. Also, if we go to verse 20. But do you want to know, O foolish men, that faith without works is dead? Again in verse 26. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So faith without works is dead. This he says 3 times over. The author also uses a rhetorical device that's called a diatribe. Now, a diatribe is where the author introduces an imaginary figure, an imaginary interlocutor. In other words, somebody who argues against him. Paul also does that in his writings. So he presents this person as arguing, you can have faith here separate from works. They don't go together. So specifically, he introduces this imaginary interlocutor in verse 18. He says, but someone will say, you have faith and I have works. So this is a person who wants to separate them. Now he retorts, the author. He argues back. He says, show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. The author insists. Faith and works go together. Then he refers to the demons that have faith. So what? Because they don't have the right kind of faith, because they don't have the right corresponding works. And then he addresses this imaginary figure again in verse 20. But do you want to know, O foolish man, that faith without works is dead? And now the author gives 2 examples of faith. Firstly, Abraham. Abraham was willing to sacrifice his son. And that we can go read in Genesis 22. We know the story. Because God promised Abram, you will become a great nation. In other words, and even after that promise, he took his only son and was willing to sacrifice him. Then God gave that ram there, and where the angel intervened. And then a second example our author gives is that of the prostitute Rahab, who helped those 2 spies. They came to Jericho to spy on the new land, and Rahab protected them. She hid them in a roof. She helped them to escape. And of course, she was also saved by that in the end. So, 2 practical examples of faith, both Abraham and Rahab. Specifically, when it comes to Abraham, the author says, do you see that faith was working together with his works? And by works, faith was made perfect. In terms of Rahab, he says, likewise, was not Rahab the harlot also justified by works when she received the messages and sent them out another way? So, our author is very clear, like he repeated 3 times, faith without works is dead. And he concludes this section, if we go to verse 26, for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So for the author, faith and work, specifically deeds of love. And here he focuses a lot on the poor, the marginalized, that you need to help, reach out to them, etc. They go hand in hand. So basically he says, if you are given a bicycle, you cannot just sit on it. You must also pedal. That's Christian faith.